Okay, I know it's been a while since I made a video. Long while. I think about close to 6 months at least. The update on the Toyota. I've done the head gasket finally. I literally spent like $30-$40 on it. I just said forget it, go ahead and do it. And got another VAF's volume airflow meter, whatever you want to call it. Used it off my dad's. It still throws the code for that, but his is good. His runs fine. But I believe the problem is the TPS, because it's funny when I unplug it, it runs better, or it'll auto lower, but actually have better throttle response. But when you plug it back in, it does basically the exact same thing, but it actually runs better than what it did, because there's obviously no water getting into the cylinder, or getting into the whatever you want to call it. I can't think of the name of it right now, but through the head gasket, basically causing it to miss, which is what it was doing. There's no water in it right now because I just ain't had time to do nothing. I've been working a lot and haven't really had time for YouTube either. And I actually lost a bunch of videos that I recorded and lost because the memory card had something happen. I can't remember what it was. I know a lot of them got deleted, and I didn't know it until I went to go start editing them. But I'm gonna get this hood prop up and start it and see what it does. I ain't started it in a while, so the battery might be weak. Alright, now I'm gonna go into the truck and see if it does anything. There's no water whatsoever in there because it's all drained. I just got the cap loose fitted anyways. The radiator hose is still off. I ain't even did nothing with that. But I'm gonna see if it'll start and what happens. I'm gonna get in the truck and start it now. And so this is definitely gonna be a cold start, but not exactly. It's not really real cold out. It's just, hopefully it does something. Hopefully the battery's still decent. Well, at least it cranks. It's idling for now. The check engine light's still on from the codes it's still throwing. I don't know why it's doing that. I've checked the wiring and everything. It's got to be something with one of the sensors throwing it off, possibly. I don't know. But I mean, it runs better. I'm gonna say it doesn't run good. It runs better than what it did. I'll go out here and see the motor, see how it's actually doing. It's shaking right now. I could tell there's still a miss in it, but go look at the motor and unplug the TPS so I can show you what it's doing. I guess if there's no water in it, it ain't gonna run long, but I can't run it. It ain't running long, but I can't let it run for long because the water, no water in it. I don't know. I guess it runs better without the idle air control is actually built into this. The temperature gauge does work, but it never, I mean, it's got a new head gasket, all new head bolts, stuff like that, but it never really gets, I'm gonna say up to temperature, I guess. But I mean, these trucks don't really get that warm either. Well, at least my dad's didn't. I don't know about other people's. I've seen some get a little warmer, but I mean, it's got about almost a half tank. Clutch is still pretty good. I don't know exactly how many miles are on it, but I think the 5 months that I haven't posted a video, I've gotten a little more views or whatever, so maybe it's time to start going at it again. The Expedition is literally burning so much oil, so I'm gonna have to basically completely rebuild it. I've got the head gaskets for it again, or for it, and the head bolts and the head gaskets for it. The number 7, I believe, when you look at the manifold, it literally is just, it's wet, and the whole, not really all of it, but a lot of places under the motor, all the way back to the transmission, it's literally got oil, got like, it's wet. I can't really, some parts I can tell it's oil, some parts I can just see that it's wet, and I don't know exactly if that's water or oil, but I do know that it is burning like crazy because the spark plugs are so fouled and it's just missing like crazy. But and I'll try to show you that in this video too. But this is the update on Toyota. I don't have water, I don't have water in the radiator right now. As you've seen, the hose is off. It's running without water in it. Yes, I know that is not good, but I mean, it's not hurting it really. But at the same time, I don't want to run it too long like that. So I'm just gonna shut this off, and I can't start the Expedition because it doesn't have a battery in it, and I really don't feel like pulling that out or whatever out of this truck, putting it in there. But I'll try to see if I can show where the where it's at right now. Anyways, I have driven it probably 1,000, maybe 1,500 miles since I've redone the motor. But I think now that I'm going to tear it all back down, I think it's like, I don't know, $50 to $80 for piston rings, the main bearings, all that stuff. But I'm gonna go look at that and see if I can show you before it gets too dark. Okay, so this is what's been left basically, and nothing's really changed. Let's see, I don't know if I can see it from here or not. Probably not. Anyways, I'll see if I can get under it and look. Alright, so as you can tell, the drive shaft's wet. Like I said, I couldn't tell if some of this is water or whatever, but you can see if it'll focus, those black dots. Yeah, there it goes. That looks like oil. And all over the oil pan, and then you can see right up around the manifold. It'll focus. There we go. You can see where it's basically just burning oil like crazy, so I had to quit driving it. I didn't want to mess it up even more. But, and that transmission fluid, which, I mean, all that driving I was doing with it, I'm sure it's going to be leaking some, because I did have a little more than I should have in there. But, and see on the manifolds, or the, I forget what you call it. Yeah, there's even oil right there on the O2 sensor. But that's why I quit driving it. I got another, I forget what you call these sensors right here. I can't think of it. I'll put it somewhere on the screen if I remember. I ordered one of those because it was saying that was bad, which, well, I wouldn't shift. It kept saying it was bad to order a new one, and the company sent me a bad one, which I will not order from them no more either, but it is what it is. But yeah, that's pretty much how the expedition is going right now. And got all kinds of stuff, just like I said, it's just wet all over the place up under here. I've not had any problems out of transmission anymore. Just, you can tell it's misfiring under a load, and it definitely doesn't like it. And I don't know if that's from the transmission or if that's just from motor oil. I don't know what that is either. Anyway, I mean, it's got 200,000 miles on it, so I've got a fluids leaking here and there, but it ain't really, I'm gonna say it ain't leaking bad. It just, like, it's being slung, or it's, how would you put that? I'm gonna say it's being thrown across the bottom portion of it, maybe because there's a little too much transmission fluid in it or something. But I did replace that gasket right there, which, I mean, it looks like I said, some of it looks like it's wet, but I don't know. But all in all, if I put a battery in it, it would fire right up, but you could tell it was missing and whatnot. But that's the update on this. I'm thinking, heck, if that Toyota runs like that, maybe I can just take those hoses off the idle air control, or I think that's what it's called. Yeah, it has to be, because water runs through there controlling how it idles and stuff. But I'll see if I can show you what I'm talking about and kind of cut that off, because I mean, it was revving up pretty good. I don't know how it would do under load, because under load it wouldn't hardly do nothing, but I'll have to try that one day when I feel like doing something. Here lately I haven't been, but I've got a lot to do anyways, and work is just, man, it's draining me. But I'll see if I can show you that. So this right here, and I think, yeah, right there, that hose right there is basically, they call it on these the idle air control, and it literally just is being, I guess, controlled by the coolant or whatever. But since I ain't got water in it, and that's the first time I've started it in a while, I let it get a little warm, because the exhaust is definitely hot. I can feel the heat off of it, but I mean, it didn't overheat at all. But yeah, I hadn't tried that over there. Maybe I should try that and see how it runs and whatnot. I mean, if I can get away with that, sure, save me a whole lot in fuel, because I'm spending about $200 a month. I mean, it's way less than what I used to be doing, but $200 a month in fuel in my Dodge. But hopefully I'll get this uploaded soon and start doing videos again. This is off another one that I have. I've adjusted the TPS on it and couldn't figure out if that was the problem. This come off a parts truck that we have. But that right there is the idle air control for these motors. And this one, I think it idled extremely low. Like I said, the TPS was adjusted on it, but that's the spare one that I have that I'm not sure really say if it's good or not, but I know this one is supposed to be new. On the other one that I have, the guy put a bunch of parts on it, and you've seen in the other videos that I made of what was wrong with it, why it wouldn't run. But that's it for now. Alright, so finally, I believe this thing is fixed, and it is not what I thought it would be. But I ain't changed the TPS on it either. I thought that was it, but wasn't really 100% sure, which is why I didn't buy a new one. But basically, I'm going to get in the truck and explain because it's freezing out here right now. Okay, so I didn't really clean out the truck much. I had 2 rims sitting in here for a while off my Dodge. But basically, this is a computer out of my dad's 91 Toyota pickup. It's the same motor, 22RE, but I thought the computer on this went bad because I was checking the injectors to see if it was being fired by the computer, grounded out. I believe they're grounded out by the computer. But basically, what gave me the idea was, it wasn't that exactly it was a computer, but I felt the wires that were going to the computer from the volume airflow meter, VAF, whatever you want to call it for Toyotas. Basically, I would wiggle the wire right there at the plug, and the check engine light that was on right there, that's where it shines, right there. But basically what I thought it was is I thought the wires weren't making good contact and it wasn't getting a good reading from this thing, which that is a good one. That one's off my dad's. But anyways, so I would wiggle the wire. The light kind of got a little bit brighter to me. It seemed like, but it was dark, and pretty much all I was doing was wiggle the wire. I had the ignition on, not started. I didn't have the truck started, but it looked like it would get brighter and kind of dimmer to me. So I was like, well, since it's warmed up and you've got no other ideas, just stick the other computer in it, stick the one that originally came with back in it and see what happens. Well, literally as soon as I plugged up, that's my computer for this truck right here. Or that's the original computer of this truck that it came with when I got it. But basically what I did was I plugged that in, put the key in the ignition, and turned it on. Before I even started it, the check engine light was immediately gone. So I got excited about that. So I was like, start it, see if it'll just start. So as soon as I cranked it over, it fired right up, run so much more different. I mean, it's still got a miss in it or whatever, but it runs so much more different than what it was running like. And I've got throttle response. I've actually took it down the little area here that goes to my driveway, and I could actually drive it. I probably still got to adjust the distributor on it, but for the most part, I mean, it's pretty much, as far as I know, fixed, I hope. But this is a cold start from basically since last night, but let's see what happens. Check engine light went away. I've got so much better throttle response. I'm gonna let this thing warm up, and I gotta air up the back tire on it. I'm gonna clean out the bed of it today. I'm gonna try to go get this thing tags and whatnot. I mean, it's basically got a brand new top end and everything, like I did to the Expedition, but this one is actually a crate motor, so the bottom end should be fine. It's board 40 over, I believe. That's what it said on the pistons. But I'm hoping I can drive this so I can save some money on fuel. And I'm going to be moving soon, next year sometime, probably basically after I get my taxes back and everything. I'm possibly going to be buying another place. So, but I'm going to get this truck cleaned up today, and you can, I guess you can hear the miss in it. It's a lot better response. But I'm gonna get that done today and try to start driving this thing and see how it does. But it's hard to believe that swapping those computers out did the trick. Maybe the 91 fires different than the 93s. I don't know. They fire, 2 injectors fire at once. I think it's called batch firing. But it's running. It runs a lot better. I can possibly drive it. I'm hoping I can anyways. But this thing is like, I think when it gets down to a quarter tank, I believe the thing in the tank, the what do you call that? Swing arm or whatever. I think it gets stuck on something, so it stops at a quarter tank. So I kind of need to fix that. But for the most part, what, $10-15 fill this thing up? It's like 50, 60, almost 70 if it's on E for my Dodge a week to fill it up. Going back and forth to work, and I live like a half hour away from work, so. But hopefully I get this thing rolling good enough and get it ready to drive today. But yeah, I'm gonna get this truck cleaned up and see what I can do with it. That's it for now.